Hi guys, my name is Arietta Bamshle and this is my CIS 9467 final presentation. For my final presentation, I decided to use macros and VBAs to create an inventory and customer management system. Avadex Textile is the name of my mom's store. My mom owns a business back home in Lagos, Nigeria where she sells lace materials. I decided to create a system to help her manage an inventory and a customer. This system could help her update a customer list, update an inventory list, view a customer list, and view an inventory list. I've thought of a similar project months before, when I started taking my Access class, to use Access to create a similar system. But since this project came up, I decided to see how much can VBA offer in terms of a management system. So let's get into this video. The first thing you will notice is that there is a button on the introductory page which says begin. So by clicking on this button, I will get led into the action page where I could take one of the four actions I previously mentioned. So I could add a new customer. I use the user form to create this. So I fill out this form and the customer list will be updated with whatever information I put here. And I could add an inventory similar to the add new customer. The inventory list to be updated with whatever information I put on this form. I could view my customer list, which is currently empty, and on every sheet I have here, on the customer list sheet and the inventory list sheet, I have a home button that takes you back to the action page so you can select a new action. And same thing with the view inventory list. We're currently empty for the purpose of this project, so we could work with it together. And now we go home. So now let's work with this. So first things first, let's add a new customer. Customer ID 001, customer name, I'm going to use my first name for this. Phone number 646. Numbers. City, Bronx, and the state is a drop down that gives you suggestions as you type. So New York and zip code 10010. I save this and I reset to go back to my action page, and then I view customer list to see the information I just typed updated. I could also fill out my form on this table. Add a new customer. Yes, so I could also fill out my form here, but this does not affect the user form here because I could also add a new customer by just filling out this form. So one thing I want to show you is how I deal with duplicate values. So having duplicate values on a customer for your customer ID creates a problem because you have different customer assigned to the same customer ID. So I resolved this by adding a message box to inform you that you're about to create a duplicate ID for a different customer. So this tells you that the customer ID you entered already exists. Please enter a new customer ID. So now I could change my customer ID and fill out this form. I'm not going to complete the whole form because you get the gist of it, and just save it and reset. And view customer list. I created the same data validation from the table itself. So when I try to add a customer 3, it tells me that the ID already exists. Please enter a new customer ID. So I have to use a different ID number. So again, this is just for the project. If I'm doing this, I will make sure that every form, every text box is entered, like it's compulsory you fill out the form before you can go to the next thing. But for the sake of this project, I just wanted to speed things up. Okay, so same thing for inventory. I created the same data validation to restrict the duplication of entries for the item ID and for the item description. So I don't want to have multiple IDs for different object, and I don't want to have the same object being assigned to different IDs. So just fill out the form and say Swiss lace, unit price $100, and quantity we have 50. Save, reset, view inventory list that updates, and from the home screen I could do the same thing. Okay, so if I press 1, it tells me item ID already exists, please enter a new item ID. So I change that to 2, and I call this Swiss lace as well. It tells me the description already exists, please enter a new description, so I have to change that. And the price would be 150, and we have 25 available. So I go home, add an inventory from my own page. I say 002. Item ID already exists, please enter a new item ID. So I change that to 3. And I change this to Royal Lace, and it tells me that the description is already assigned to an item ID. Please enter a new description. So let's change it to cord lace. Say $75 per bundle, and quantity we have 60 of those available. Save that, reset, view item list. So that is what the VBA does, and the buttons, that's what they do. So now very quickly, let me show you the code that I used to create this system. So Visual Basic. So first is the modules. This just shows the buttons. So the first one is the view customer list, which takes you to the view customer. The next is the view inventory list, which takes you to the view inventory, the inventory list table. And the other two were tables I was trying to create but couldn't for some reason. Module 2 is to assign the forms that I created. I'll show you the forms in a minute. Assign those forms to the other two tables, the other two buttons on my action page. So the add customer form was added to the add new customer button, and the add inventory was added to the add inventory button. The dot show is what makes the form pop up when you click on those buttons. Alright, so now let me show you what the buttons do. The third module just shows the begin macro, which I added to the introductory page. So the add inventory, this is what the user form looks like. It just has the text boxes and the labels that you see on the form when you click on the button. And then let me show you what the code looks like. View code. So a lot of this code I had to Google them or watch YouTube videos, and I must say it wasn't the easiest process ever, because most videos I found were, I would say, outdated, and they didn't work with my version of Excel, so I kept running into errors until I finally found a code that works for me. So this first code, this is to close the form when you click the reset button. The second code is to update the customer list with whatever information is entered on the add customer form to the when you click the save button. The next code, this code is to create a data validation, which is to make sure that you don't enter the same customer ID more than once by by giving the message box saying that the customer ID already exists, please enter a new customer ID. And the next code I have here is for the combo box that exists on the add customer form. And this also I copied the code from a previous a video I saw on YouTube. One thing I should mention, that something that really helped me with this project that made it a little bit easier was that I renamed all the buttons and all the text boxes, which made it easier for me to locate them and know what name to use in my code and not run into any confusion. So I did similar thing for my ad inventory. This is what the form looks like, and most of the code was just copied from the code I used from my ad customer list. So this project was quite challenging for me because VBA is not something I'm very comfortable with, but I did learn a lot and I'm pleased with the result of it. And I hope that you learned a few things about VBA as well. Thanks and bye.